Who am I to tell you how to quit smoking? Well, I smoked for 10 years, and then 18 months ago, I just stopped. Here's how I did it. Don't get me wrong, I still want a cigarette every minute of every day of my life, because smoking is enjoyable. But you don't learn not to enjoy smoking, you just learn not to do it. I'm going to show you how to quit smoking in 7 simple steps. Mindset, set a date, language, accountability, ceremony, never smoke again, and celebrate the milestones. Muslakunk! Yeah, alright, the acronym's not great, but it's the steps that matter. Step 1, mindset. Step 1 is arguably the toughest of all of the steps, but it's not nearly as difficult as you might think. Once you get past step 1, it's pretty much plain sailing from there. First of all, you have to want to quit, and you have to want to do it for yourself. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you already want to quit, so bloody good on you. Secondly, and this is the most important bit, you need some sort of mental foundation and trust in yourself in order to stay true to the decision that you've made. When I was a substance abusing teenager, I suffered from depression. A side effect of which, of both the substance and of the depression, was intense forgetfulness and a complete inability to trust my own decisions. Had I tried to quit smoking at this time in my life, I would have forgotten about it, and then I would have tortured myself over the guilt of smoking when I then realised. I know this because it happened multiple times. When I eventually did quit smoking, I was only able to do so because I spent some time working on my mental muscle. The technique that I use is meditation, and it's something that I would promote to everyone. I have actually done a video on meditation if you haven't seen it already. If you'd like some information on it, I'll put a link there, or maybe down in the description. By working out that mental muscle, just as we would with our biceps or our abs, you will gain mental strength, and you will learn to trust yourself. I know this because I was at the very, very bottom of a pit of self-loathing and managed to clamber out of it. Knowing where I came from, honestly, if I can learn to trust myself, I'm sure most people can too. Step 2, set a date. If you're watching this because you desperately want to quit smoking tomorrow, the chances are your decision at the moment is too emotional and it probably won't stick. You'll only end up kicking yourself afterwards. If this is the case for you right now, you might need to revisit step 1. If you want to quit smoking, don't do it today. Do it in 2 weeks' time. This length of time is extremely important as it allows you to complete the following steps, it allows you to keep doing whatever it is that you're doing to maintain your mental resolve, and it's short enough for us to not forget about it. Step 3, language. You're watching this video because you want to stop smoking, not because you want to try to stop smoking. In step 3, it's time for you to get tough. And you do that by checking the language that you're using. If you tell yourself and anyone else that you're going to try and stop smoking, that suggests that you think there's a possibility that you're not going to do it. And if you think that you might not do it, you're giving yourself a get out of jail free card for when you do inevitably smoke. Instead, use conclusive language. You are strong and sure of yourself. Don't tell yourself or anyone else that you're going to try and cut down, because that's not quitting smoking, and you're only going to be fed up that you do still smoke. Don't tell yourself or anyone else that you're going to try, because that's not quitting either. Tell yourself that you are going to stop. Tell yourself that you are going to quit. Tell yourself that on whatever date that you've set, before you go to bed, you are going to smoke the last cigarette that you're ever going to smoke. And you're going to go to bed that night so damn proud of yourself, you're going to have a massive grin on your face. Step 4, accountability. Everyone needs support in life. Once you have the right mindset, once you've set a date, once you've decided what language you're going to use, tell some people that you care about that you're going to stop. By doing this, you make yourself accountable to those people. Whether this is your partner or your kids or your parents, tell them so they can be excited for you. They can celebrate with you. They can motivate you. Even though you trust yourself enough to not let yourself down, that extra motivation is only increased tenfold by the thought of making those people proud. Step 5, ceremony. Humanity has used ceremony and rituals to mark momentous moments in time for as long as history can remember, and there's a very good reason for that. Ceremony allows us to remember the event and maintain the values that we are commemorating. Over the next 2 weeks, you will enjoy every single cigarette that you smoke with no guilt whatsoever, because you know that your ceremony is just around the corner. The ceremony of the final cigarette. When I had my last cigarette, it was New Year's Eve just before 2019 and I was at the pub. I told everyone that I was with that I would be quitting, and we celebrated the advent of a new year with many, many cigarettes and plenty of beer along with it. After midnight, it was time for everyone to go home, but I decided to stay for one last cigarette. Sat by myself in the pub garden, I had my ceremony. I smoked my last cigarette and I finished my beer, and genuinely with a tear in my eye, I stubbed it out and I walked home. And I went to bed that night grinning from ear to ear. Then I woke up the next morning immensely proud of myself, knowing that I will never smoke again. That New Year's Eve, I had an emotional experience, and I said goodbye to a very old friend, and my relationship with smoking was over. Before you stop smoking for good, plan your ceremony. Have an emotional experience. Say goodbye to that relationship and feel the overwhelming joy when you stub out that last cigarette. Step 6. Never smoke again. Remember step 3? Well, now's the time to test your resolve. Not just by not smoking, but by checking your language. You no longer smoke. You have kicked one of the strongest addictions you're probably ever likely to have. Not only have you kicked it, you haven't replaced it with something just as harmful. You are an absolute champion who deserves a medal because you don't smoke. You're not trying to quit. You're not quitting. You just don't smoke. Sure, you'd still like to have a cigarette, but you're not going to have one because you don't smoke. How good does that sound? You don't smoke. Finally, that brings us on to step 7. Celebrate the milestones. Think about how amazing you will feel after a whole day without smoking. Think about how amazing you'll feel after a week, a month, a whole year without smoking. Think about how proud all of your loved ones will be. Think about how much you can learn about yourself throughout this process and how you could use your newfound willpower for other amazing things in your life. As you move forward in life, it's important to celebrate how far you've come for 2 main reasons. First one, because you're bloody awesome and you deserve a pat on the back. Secondly, so you never forget why you quit in the first place. The further and further you get away from that final cigarette, the harder it's going to be to remember why you wanted to quit so much that you watched this video, probably in secret, before making one of the best decisions you will ever make. Well done for how far you have come, whether you're just now setting your date or whether you're just watching this back to remember the steps that you've taken. Well bloody done. Congratulations on no longer being a smoker. Yeah.